Hey guys, it's Bree. I hope you're having a fantastic end of your reading week. This is going up on a Saturday, so enjoy your weekend with me. A couple of days ago, Elizabeth over at Books and Pieces posted a video called 10 books that have been on my TBR for way too long. It's fantastic and I love seeing this kind of video from people. And then KJ, who I know over at her blog, posted another kind of response to that, which was also 10 books that she hadn't read. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. I'll also link Elizabeth and KJ's posts below so that you can go and see what they're reading. Because as KJ pointed out, there are a lot of books I should have read a long time ago. And the TBR people shame you for your TBR. That's not a joke. They do that. It's not cool. Don't do that to other people, but here, just know that I'm in that boat with you. This whole shelf right here is new. This shelf. That shelf is new to this room. I have separated out all of my TBR books and they are now all in one place. But I have pulled aside the 10 that have been on my bookshelf the longest, or that the ones that I need to read the most. So before I reveal these books to you, I want you to do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Have you done it? All right, let's get started. So we're gonna start with books that are kind of more in the older backlog category. There are a couple of those that I've pulled that I know I want to read, that I know are fairly important, or that are kind of staple books of people's careers that I just haven't read yet. We'll start off with Marge Piercy's He, She, and It. I love Marge Piercy. I've never picked up a Marge Piercy book that I didn't love. This is one that I have yet to read, obviously, but it's been on my bookshelf for probably almost 2 years, I want to say. And that's just a shame because, seriously, I recommend Marge Piercy's Woman on the Edge of Time to like everybody I know. I don't know why I haven't read this. This next one is one that I'm actually consistently like shame-faced when I talk about it, and that is The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell, because this has been on my TBR months at a time. There have been literally like 6 or 7 TBR videos over the last couple of years, probably 3 or 4 years, that this has been on my TBR for a month and I just never picked it up. And I need to. Like, this is a staple work. People reference this all the time and I'm just like, I'll get around to it. Yet another popular female feminist author is Eleanor Arnason, and this is Hidden Folk. It's a short story collection that's been on my shelf since 2016. I was originally really interested in reading this because I really want to read more of kind of the classic women in science fiction and fantasy, and Eleanor Arnason gets brought up quite a bit. Also, she lives in my area, which is kind of cool. But this is one that I, for some reason, just haven't picked up. I know that I've really wanted to read it. It kind of haunts me on my shelf. And also, like, every time I go to Uncle Hugo's, which is our science fiction and fantasy bookstore, or one of our science fiction and fantasy bookstores, I see this and I'm like, oh, I have that at home. I should read that. This next book is actually a stand-in for an entire series, which is, I really need to finish the Verkosigan Saga by Lois McMaster Bujold. A while back, Bane sent me like 6 of her books for review and for like me to read and kind of go through and pick my favorites and stuff like that. And I really have not gotten around to it. I've read maybe 4 of the books out of the Verkosigan Saga and just not gotten around to like reading the full thing. It's just like a huge project that I find kind of intimidating. But it's ridiculous because I love Bujold. I have read her entire Five Gods series. I have read a lot of her short fiction. I have read the Penrick novellas and loved them. So I don't know why I like keep putting this off, other than that there are so many books in this series, because that in and of itself just feels like a massive undertaking, even if it's one I would enjoy. One that has also been on my shelf for quite a few years, I actually got in a BookTube Christmas exchange, and that is The Bone Dolls Twin. This is by Lynn Flewelling. Like, you can look, this is like basically never been touched off my shelf. I got this from Winx, I think. I think she was my secret snowflake that year. And Llewellyn is one who gets recommended to me all the time, and so it's really a shame that I haven't picked this one up yet. And then kind of the last of the like staple works category that I have that I need to read is Neal Stephenson's Snow Crash, Please Don't Kill Me. I know. Snow Crash is like the one Stevenson book that gets recommended to everyone. It is the one that all of my like non-science fiction and fantasy friends rave about. And I love Neal Stephenson. I don't know why I haven't read this. It's going on my TBR list probably in the next month or so. It's short too. It's not like a gigantic Stevenson like epic that's like 1,000 pages like all his new books. And then the last 4 that I have on my list are all books that are kind of more relatively new or that I want to pick up for various reasons. I have The Prestige by Christopher Priest. I feel like I always dance around actually reading Christopher Priest, and this has made it on my TBR a couple of times. But what I have read of Priest's I've really enjoyed because it's kind of got this really like, it feels like you're really reading like an elegant literary fantasy, and I like that. And also it'll give me an excuse to watch the movie, and I love Bowie. I love Bowie. I have Keith Johnson's The Foxwoman. This has been on my TBR for years. And I really like fantasy that is based on folklore other than like the traditional, you know, Greek myth or kind of fairy tales from European history. I love stuff that kind of pushes those boundaries, and this is supposed to really do that. And so I need to pick this up, especially since I really like the Dragon Pearl. I think I might be more willing to pick this up sooner because this is of course about a fox woman or a fox demon. And so was the Dragon Pearl, and I think I really enjoy that particular type of trope. I don't know if that's really a trope as much as it is a character type. I mean, that's definitely a trope. That literary lore? I don't know. Some days I'm so articulate and some days I just have none of the words. I have Valente's The Glasstown Game. This is a retelling of the Brontes, or like an imagining of a world where the Bronte children like run away. I love Valente. I've read basically everything that she's written, and I really enjoy the idea of like these little misfit like baby bats going on, Victorian baby bats going on an adventure on their own. I don't know why I haven't picked that one up other than I just haven't done it yet. And then this is one that I'm also really ashamed of because I love Jo Walton. I loved the first 2 books in this series. This book is of course Necessity, which is the follow-up and the end of the trilogy. The first book is The Just City, and then you have Philosopher Kings, and Necessity came last. I picked this up years ago, like I think Kansas City Worldcon. And it has sat on my shelf. I don't know if it's because maybe in like the back of my mind I don't want this series to end, or I just kind of constantly want to have Walton stuff on hold, but I haven't picked it up yet and I absolutely need to. So there you have it. The 10 books that I desperately need to read that have been on my TBR for just way too long. Go ahead and tell me what your TBR list looks like. What are the books that you haven't been picking up and that you just like, you don't know why? Those books that you've had forever, that you've been meaning to read, you've had every intention of reading, and just they sit on the shelf. I find this is really interesting, and you know, KJ was right. Like, talking about it maybe makes it less of a secret shameful thing. I'll go ahead and I'll link to KJ and to Elizabeth in the description box below. And if you want to do this video, a similar video, go ahead and leave your link in the comments down below. I would love to see the kind of things that you have on your TBR list. I hope you guys are having a fantastic reading week in advance. I know this one hasn't quite yet ended, but I'm feeling good. The weather's nice out, so I think it's gonna be a good reading week. If you want to support me, you can go ahead and give a thumbs up. You can go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to hang out with me in other places, I'm available on Twitter and Instagram. I also have a Patreon page where patrons help me pick things that go on my TBR for the month. I'm secretly blaming all of my patrons for not finishing any of these books. I hope to talk to you guys very soon. I'll see you later. Bye.